Have you been considering getting a NACA home mortgage? Do you want to know if the no money down is really too good to be true? Well, stick around because today we'll be discussing the pros and cons of using a NACA home mortgage and what that process looks like. Stick around. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me, Jazzy Mac. It's so nice to be back in the flesh with you all. As some of you know, I just had a baby and I finally had a chance to just do my hair, put on a dab of makeup, and I'm just so excited to talk about the home buying process. That's a part of the series that we've had going where we've been talking about credit. We've been talking about getting collections removed, getting approved for mortgages, some of them no money down, no minimum credit score. And so this is just a continuation of the previous video that I did where I talked about some of the different types of mortgages that you can apply for. And specifically, we're going to talk about the NACA mortgage because this is a very popular program that people often go through that does not require any down payment. You can get a NACA mortgage with no down payment and no minimum credit score. But there are a few other things that you need to know about. So let's just back it up and let's talk about NACA and what it is. So NACA stands for the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America. They are a nonprofit group that specializes in helping home buyers that don't presently own a home step into home ownership. It's not for people that currently own a home or are trying to purchase a second property. They're very strict about that. So in order to be eligible for NACA, you cannot be a current homeowner. Now, if you've owned a home in the past, and maybe you sold it, you lost it to bankruptcy, whatever the situation is, if you've previously owned a home and you don't presently own one now, then you still would qualify. You just can't currently have a home that you own. So let's get into the pros and cons of using a NACA home mortgage. And also, just so you know, I put down below some information about NACA if you wanted more information just about the program or if you wanted to attend an actual NACA webinar. I did put that information below. And I also put the home buying kit and the credit kit down below as well for those of you that want help cleaning up your credit. So that information is available to you. So let's jump right into the pros. So as I mentioned, the pro for NACA, the first one is going to be no money down. There is no requirement for a down payment, nor do you have to pay mortgage insurance. So no down payment, no PMI is required. Those are instant money savers. So that's definitely a benefit. The second thing that is a pro for NACA is there are no closing costs. Again, another money saver, less money out of your pocket at the closing table. So that's also a good thing. Third thing, low interest rate. NACA offers an interest rate that is as cheap as 0.125%. I think I said that wrong. 0.125% interest rate. So they have a very cheap interest rate, one of the cheapest on the market. Most people are going to come in at, maybe a 3.25 or, if you go through a credit union, you may pay 1.75% interest rate. For NACA, they're offering less than a 1% interest rate, a 0.125% interest rate. So that is also going to be a money saver and something that you'll want to consider. Some of the other benefits are going to be the no minimum credit score. NACA doesn't say, oh, you have to have at least a 620 or a 580, similar to, the FHA or, a conventional loan. For NACA, there is no minimum credit score. What they will do in place of checking your credit is they're going to check your payment history. And they're going to also do something called a borrower's evaluation, where it's just kind of like a case-by-case basis where they ultimately evaluate not just your payment history, but any delinquencies you've had. They're going to look at your credit mix, your account mix, and they're going to make just a case-by-case sort of decision on your credit situation. So just because you have a low credit score does not mean that you're out of the running. You can go in there with a 500 and still be a candidate and still be considered for a NACA home mortgage. And some of the other things, if you don't get the cheapest interest rate, you can do what they call buying down the mortgage interest rate, which means you kind of pay a little bit of money up front to pay down your mortgage interest. And that's very beneficial also. And again, there are, no credit limits, but also no income limit. And so even if you don't make a ton of money, you can still be eligible to get a NACA home loan. And in addition to getting that home loan, they also offer the possibility of you getting a rehab loan. So perhaps you want to buy a fixer-upper. There will be money included in your mortgage to budget out the cost of, any sort of project that you would want to do to bring the house to your liking. So those things are all great. Those things, of course, they even got me excited. I was like, wait, why didn't I go through NACA? However, there is a little bit of a downside to using a NACA home loan or getting a NACA mortgage. I have some friends that have gone through this, and they all say the same thing in that it is a very lengthy approval process. As I've said in one of my other videos, when I closed on my house, we closed in 10 days. And we had that fast track application approval included in our bid that we would submit to different sellers. And that's what made our offer so attractive, because we told them we can close in 10 days. Well, with NACA, that's not going to happen. You're typically going to have to allocate maybe several months for how long it will take for you to ultimately close. And that is due to there being several workshops that you have to attend. Some of the workshops that you're going to have to go through are going to be a home ownership workshop. You will also have to go through a financial workshop, sort of like a budgeting workshop. There is a ton more paperwork that you are going to be required to submit, even including a cash flow history where you're going to be responsible for writing out how you sort of spend your money over a certain period of time. Some of the other cons is going to be you have to have a financial reserve, meaning a certain amount of money set aside in your bank account to go toward your mortgage payments or whatever your estimated mortgage payments are going to be. And if you can't prove that you have that amount of money, and this is before your offers are accepted, this is, pre-approval, you're going to have to provide that you're going to have a certain amount of money in your bank account. And if you can't, then that could sometimes work against you. Going back to this being a time-intensive application process, that also could make your offers when you submit an offer on a house, that could make your offer just not attractive, because people know that when they see NACA, it's going to be a lengthy sort of closing process. It could be several months. Some buyers are willing to wait. Other buyers are like, nope, I'm going to go to the people. I'm going to accept the offer of someone that can close in 30 days or that can close in 60 days or whatever the time difference is. So again, that's something that, as you're weighing whether or not you want to get a NACA mortgage, that's something that you definitely want to consider, especially if you have like a target move-in date or just a target date when you want to purchase the home. that is something that you definitely want to be cognizant of and something that you have to keep in mind. Some of the other cons of having a NACA mortgage is NACA is only available in certain areas. There are certain states where NACA has like a priority list, and then like in certain geographical areas. And so sometimes a place that you may want to purchase a home does not participate in NACA. So that's also something that you'll have to kind of research as you go through this program, and make sure that your area is being serviced by NACA. And some of the other cons are the property ownership restrictions, which means that the property has to be owner occupied. You can't buy a home, move out, and then just let your family members live in the house. It has to be occupied by you, the buyer, at all times. And this also cannot be a home that is purchased for investment purposes. It cannot be just a secondary home. It can't be a rental unit. It can't be any of that. It has to be owner occupied at all times. And then I think what some people may say is, it's not necessarily a con depending on what type of person you are, but it can be something that would make certain people back out of this program. And that is the homeowner volunteer requirement. Yes, if you want to get a NACA home mortgage, they've got all these great benefits. However, you do have to commit to volunteering for at least five different community-sponsored events per year. That is every year. It's not just the first year. Every year you are required to attend 5 different community events, and those could look like just volunteering, for a couple of hours in a NACA office. You could lead some type of peer-led, educational seminar or something. It's not like building a home for Habitat for Humanity, like where you're there all day long. Some of the volunteer activities may be really, really fun. It could just be really simple things that are just an hour long, but you do have to have 5 of those events that you attend yearly, because this is a community-backed sort of, nonprofit program. And so what you take out of it, they want to ensure that you put that back into the program itself. So those are just some of the things that you can kind of like consider when you're doing like the pros and cons of if you want to go conventional, if you want to go FHA, perhaps you want to go VA if you're a military service member, versus doing NACA. Now again, it's an awesome program that saves you a lot of money. Perhaps you just started working at a job and you don't have a ton of savings. You're still working on your credit, whatever. I mean, NACA could be a really great alternative depending on your economic situation. So I definitely would recommend that if you're a first-time home buyer, or if you're recovering from a bankruptcy from years ago, NACA is definitely a program that you want to check out. And you definitely want to compare it to other programs and other, such as the FHA versus conventional. So I hope that helps. I definitely have more information below in the description box just about NACA in general. If you guys have any questions about the NACA process, anything related to home buying, or getting approved for a mortgage, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask me those questions. Tell me what comment, in the comments, what, I can do a follow-up to, what videos you guys want to see. It's been just a pleasure to be able to share this information, and it's always my pleasure, my honor, my privilege to see some of you just walking into home ownership and saying, Jazzy, thank you for all the advice, or thank you for just like, being my cheerleader. Like, I am 100% your cheerleader. So if you haven't already, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe this video, and tell your friends about it. And until then, I will see you guys later. Bye.